I now have my 2 sets stitched. This one is for this rug, and this one for this one, the centers. The next thing we're going to do, we are going to cut along here, and we are going to blanket stitch to get ready for the last row of pennies. And this is where your masking tape comes in. It is the perfect width to cut your wool, so you don't need to measure. So we're just going to put the tape around. Make sure it's even. One doesn't look very even. There, that's good. And just continue around. I am quite wasteful with my tape, but I got it at the dollar store and it was only $1, so I would rather have too much, and because it needs to be cut through these, so you really need to have some overlap. There. And we will do the same on this one, and then I will show you the next step. I now have the tape around. With this one, you need to put your tape out to have a good point, because that's going to be your cutting line. These aren't too difficult, but here it needs to be a good point, because here you have 1 penny, but here you have 3 pennies that you will need to put on to finish the rug. So you need a point here to attach your 3rd penny. So it's very important to have these tapes go to a point, because that will be your cutting line. And so now we cut. In Canada we have metric, so my tape is a little bit less than 3/4 inch. So I'm just going to cut on the outside, but just that you don't cut your tape. Cut to the point, on the point. Again. This is your point. It doesn't matter if you're a little bit over the tape, don't cut the tape, because then you're not going to have enough to attach your pennies. And with this one, we're going to go right to that point. Maybe I'll do just a little bit there. And then we go through. There, we're finished. This is all your extra wool to make pennies or to make something else with. And I've already completed this one. It's just putting your tape around your pennies, adding a little bit extra. And so now we're going to remove the tape, and this is where you do not want very sticky tape, because it will fray the edges of your wool. So you just take it off. That one off. And we'll remove this one. I really don't know what they would use that tape for, because it doesn't stick. And now we will be doing the blanket stitch on the outside edge before we put the last row of large pennies on. And that will be what I will show you next. We are now going to blanket stitch around the outside so we can put the last row of pennies on. you need to start your stitch where a penny is going to cover it, and that would be there. Do not start on the points. Always start where a penny is going to cover it. And what you do is you just make a little stitch. There's my knot. So my thread comes over, and I'm going to do my first penny stitch right by that knot. Not in the knot, just by it. Goes up, the needle comes out. And you have two pieces there, but you don't on this side. You just have a little knot and one stitch. And that's very good when you end it, because you're going to end it with that piece. So we just go around. This one you can hold in your hand. It's not going to hurt. I just don't like holding it, so I do it on my board. It doesn't matter how close or how far apart the stitches are, it's just whatever you're comfortable with. This thread will not go completely around, and so you will need to stop this thread and start another piece. And I will show you how to do that. Now when you come to a corner, if you just do an ordinary stitch, it's going to roll off the corner. So your first stitch goes in and it does not come out the back. It will go in, it goes in and it will come out the wool on the point, just like that. That's so your stitch is going to stay. And we bring it up. There. Very nice. Another one. And you just keep going around. Don't pull your threads too tight. They don't need to be very tight. They just need to be so your wool doesn't fray, and it looks good. And so I will continue around until we get to the end, and I will show you how to stop it. I now have both of the rugs stitched around the outside. This one is completed, and I have the pennies on there. This one is almost completed. I wanted to show you how I end my stitch. Okay. When you end a stitch, you always have to lock it in the other stitch. So I just go through there, and it locks. It should go in here. There. It locks, and then we just bring it down, and it doesn't matter how you stay that stitch. You can just put a little knot here where you started. Doesn't matter, as long as it stays. It really doesn't matter how you stop and start your stitch. The only important thing is you don't stop and start on a corner. It's very difficult to do that, and keep your stitches loose on the corners so that you don't have any problems there. And then, so I've done that, and I just thread my wool, my thread in my wool a little bit, rather than just have an end. There. And stop it. Now, remember, you always start where it's going to be covered with a penny. So I have these on. Now I'm just going to add these, just in random, touching, always touching. And I will go ahead and I'll add those, and I will pin them. And I'm going to show you how to start stitching on this one because I already have them pinned. And I have my needle threaded here. And again, it's the same thing. I start in between 2 pennies because my thread will do 2 pennies. So I just get a stitch started. And hide the knot. Good, I'm ready to go. Okay, and it's just a matter of blanket stitching again. The thing is, with the pennies that are staying out, you have to remember that once you get to the top part, it's going to be as you did here. It's going to be your needle goes out and then you stitch around. My rug actually shouldn't be sticking out like that. I should have cut it closer to the tape, so make sure you cut close to the tape. And that's how you know if you have the right size. You shouldn't see the tape. Actually, you won't really see the tape there, but the wool there, but that's how you can measure the tape. You put your tape so that it doesn't show your wool. I think the heat's getting to me. And we continue around. And it's exactly the same as doing these. We will go around, we'll go here, we'll make the same connection and then go around again. And I'll just stop the tape and wait until I'm at that point.